The cloud. Good morning. I'm missing my drummer today. He's on vacay. So, as you know, I'm Mickey and Luna's here too, but she's off in the distance. So, we'll get started with some gentle yoga. So, for today, in terms of props, I have, and you do not have to sit like this. Sorry, I just came down to sit. You can sit however you like. You can sit in a chair, on a bed, on a couch if you'd like, or even on the ground. But right now we're going to come onto our backs. And what I like to do, I'll mention some of the props that I like to use in case you want to use any of these. I have for today 2 blocks, a strap, a bolster or pillow could work. I have a blanket. I also have this chair in case I want to use that. And then a tennis ball could be really nice. So for today, to get started, you can either come to lie flat on your back, or you could take this blanket and make a little blanket roll. And I like to bring this right on my mat so that this is going to go right underneath my heart center. So you can kind of shimmy to a position where your feet are on the mat and your hands are behind you, and then kind of allow yourself to lean back so that that blanket roll lands underneath your heart. And you can make this roll as big or as small as you like. If it would feel okay for the shoulders and the chest, you might cactus the arms out open to the sides. And then maybe you allow the knees to tent in towards each other. You could even walk your feet out a little ways so that you kind of make a little teepee with your feet. Another option with the hands would be to rest them on your belly, and maybe you let your elbows rest on the blanket or on the ground beside you. And this might really help tune into the breath. Take some nice deep breaths, starting to allow yourself to arrive. Filling the lungs and then letting it go. And as you begin to arrive, you might bring your awareness down into your heart center. And just start to notice if there's maybe an intention for your practice today. And this could be anything you'd like to cultivate. It even could be something you'd like to release. And for today, if you'd like to use the theme for class, the theme is called tapas. And so we've been studying in the series the book The Yamas and the Niyamas by Deborah Adele. And we were talking before class about yoga and how yoga is so much more than just physical postures. And part of the 8 limbs of yoga are called the yamas and the niyamas. So these are yoga's ethical practices, and tapas means self-discipline. So this is the third of the niyamas. The yamas are called restraints, and they're kind of how we should interact with the outside world. And then the niyamas are more about how can we cultivate sort of our inner world. And tapas is self-discipline. So I just have a short reading from this book by Deborah Adele. She says tapas literally means heat and can be translated as catharsis, austerities, self-discipline, spiritual effort, change, tolerance, or transformation. Tapas has the sense of cooking ourselves in the fire of discipline to transform ourselves into something else. It is our determined effort to become someone of character and strength. tapas eventually changes our nature, turning us into a cauldron that can withstand any of life's challenges. Tapas is the day to day choice to burn non supportive habits of the body and mind, choosing to forsake momentary pleasures for future rewards. So, see about if that intention of tapas speaks to you. Maybe you want to use it as an intention for your practice today, and you might start to imagine it like a flickering flame at your heart center. You might allow that little burning sensation there, that little bit of heat, to burn away anything that you would like to release. So, thinking about almost like how we can get rid of the things that no longer serve us. You might toss them into this little bonfire, feeding your flame. Anytime something comes up that you decide doesn't serve you, like a thought, maybe a rumination on something that happened in the past, or an anxiety about something coming up in the future, imagine yourself releasing that, maybe feeding your fire at your heart center. And just notice how each repetition, every time we notice and catch ourselves in the act of ruminating or planning, you might just notice, and that noticing is a practice. It's a practice of mindfulness, and that is part of yoga. You might bring yourself back to your breath, allowing the oxygen to also feed that fire at your heart center. If you want to move your body, and remember that even mindfulness, focusing on your breath, stillness is a form of yoga as well. So all of these things can be choices for you. You might extend your arms out wide to the sides and then walk your feet as wide as the mat. Allow both knees to fall over to the left. So you might find that your right knee is falling down towards your left foot. And then maybe you even reach your right arm long, finding a long body stretch all along your right side from your fingertips all the way down to your knee. Send your breath along your side body, and then just tune your awareness into any areas of sensation. If it's pain, you can always back off. Just allow yourself a moment to really soften here. Take one more nice deep breath. Maybe turn your gaze to peek up toward your left or towards your right hand that's lifted. And then on your next inhale, we'll bring the knees back to center, open the arms out into a letter T, and then we'll get ready for the other side. And you can also assess if the blanket's feeling good, assisting in this pose, you can leave it there, or you can also move it off to the side at any time. You have choice, agency. Allow your knees to float over to the right. You're going to allow that top knee, that's your left knee, to float down towards your right knee, or your right heel, I should say. And then maybe you stretch your left arm up and overhead, finding a long body stretch along the left side. Breathing into any areas of sensation and just noticing. If there's tension living there, you can imagine that heat from your heart center, the oxygen in your breath melting away the tension. releasing the debris on your exhale and softening. And then go ahead and take one more nice deep breath here. Maybe peek up at your left fingertips. It's a little nice stretch maybe for the neck. If it's too much, don't go so far. And then we'll bring everything back to center on the inhale. Now go ahead and just float the knees side to side, moving at the pace of your own breath. Maybe you softly turn the gaze in the opposite direction. And you can feel yourself softly saying no. And that's okay too. Whatever you're saying no to, feel free to feed it to that burning flame at your heart, building your tapas, self-discipline, those day-to-day choices that you have made, and this choice that you made right now to tune into your body and your breath. You've already won. Take one more nice deep breath on each side. And then when you're ready, we'll come back to center. Again, if this blanket roll is feeling like too much, I quite like it, but if it's feeling like too much, you can always move it off to the side. Go ahead and plant your feet underneath your knees, and then we'll reach the fingertips wide. And on your next exhale, you can reach your fingertips up towards the sky, and then cross your right arm over the top of your left. Give yourself a nice big hug, stretching through the back, through the shoulders. It might feel good to even gently rock side to side. And as you rock side to side, you're pressing gently into your feet. You might notice your torso is moving up the length of the mat. Maybe that feels good because the blanket roll could be moving into a different space on your back body. Take one more nice deep breath. Feel that warmth of your hug. Maybe even take your right hand, give your left shoulder a squeeze. A little rub. And then when you're ready, you can come back to center. Open your arms out wide to the sides. Take a nice deep breath, stretching from your fingertips. And then on your next exhale breath, we'll bring the arms up towards the sky. Call to mind somebody you'd like to give a big hug to, and cross your left arm over the top of the right. Give yourself a little squeeze, noticing that hug you're sending to someone else is coming right back to you. Go ahead and rock the torso if that feels good. Finding any areas of tension or holding, releasing them with the breath. You might take your left hand and give your right shoulder a little rub. Massaging any places of tension in the shoulder, taking a moment to check in with the shoulder joint. Wouldn't it feel good to get a little massage cream and rub the shoulder sometime? Maybe next time. Maybe when you do the recording. Take one more nice deep breath, and then we'll open the arms out wide to the sides. And then you can bring the hands next to the hips, press into the heels, shift the hips to the right, and then roll onto your left side. And we'll press up to a seat using the strength of your hands. Oh, hi, you decided to join us. And you can clear the blanket off to the side. As promised, it's cat yoga. This is Luna. Say hi, Luna. So I'm going to move the blanket off to the side. We'll use this a little bit later. And then if you have a block or something that could be the shape of a block, go ahead and bring that next to you. And then anything that you can use as a strap. I always keep thinking I should bring a dish towel in because Probably that's more common than having a strap. But I have this extra, extra long one. You can also use like a dish towel or a belt, even a fanny pack. I have one over there, and I'm realizing that has a strap. Anything that would be strap like. And then what about a tennis ball? So these are all optional props, and we'll try to incorporate them as we come back onto our backs. So when you come onto your back, and you might bring your feet out in front, hold onto the back of your knees, and then gently roll back onto your back. Bring your back flat on the mat, and then open your arms out wide to the sides. Or really not that wide, they're just right next to your hips. And then we'll flip the palms face down, and on your inhale breath, you can imagine you're drawing a nice big rainbow over the body. Lift the fingertips up, reach them up as high as they go. No need to touch the floor behind you. You can reach them past your ears, however far. And then on your next exhale, we'll lower the hands back down. Press your palms on the earth. And then on your inhale, press into your heels, lift your hips into a bridge, any amount. Finding that tapas, that heat. And then on your exhale, gently lower your spine back down, almost like you could one vertebrae at a time. Go ahead and mindfully move through these movements. Yeah, a lot of M's there. Inhale to reach the fingertips long, rainbowing over the body. Maybe you can even picture the most beautiful rainbow passing over your body. Just delight in that time of joy. Inhale to lift the hips up into bridge. You might squeeze the glutes. When we do these strengthening exercises for the glutes and the hips, it can help with the knees as well. Lower your spine back down. I know that because the physical therapist prescribes them for knee pain. Inhale to reach the fingertips up overhead. And then just continue to follow the pace of your own breath. You move as slowly and mindfully as you like. You can try to touch the kitty while you're reaching your fingertips back. Breathe into the shoulders, anywhere you're finding sensation. Then also notice your thoughts. Are you able to stay with the breath? And if not, that's okay too. Remember, this is a practice. Every time we practice mindfully coming back to the body and back to the breath, we're using our yoga, we're learning, we're practicing, we're growing and strengthening that muscle. Go ahead and take one more nice deep breath, reaching the fingertips long, and as you exhale, you can lower them down. Now, if you have something like a pillow, a block, a bolster, something you could slide underneath the hips, as you press up into bridge, you can either hold an active bridge, and some people like to interlace their hands underneath them. We call this a bind. Or at any time, you could take your prop and place it right underneath your sacrum. That's your very, very low back. And you're coming up into a supported bridge. Now you could stay here with your feet flat on the mat, or you could extend one leg at a time or both legs up to the sky. And this is also where you might use a strap. If you wanted to, you could place the strap around the feet and hold on. You kind of need to lasso the feet if you wanted to do that. Well, maybe that's a little too tricky right now. Let's pass on that for this minute. Take a moment to admire your feet if they're up towards the sky, maybe rotating the ankles, wiggling the toes. And you might take a moment to just marvel at what an amazingly intricate design your feet are. All the bones, muscles of your feet, all the places they've taken you. What more could you do for your feet? Truth be told, before class, I was using some body butter to massage my feet. That is the handcrafted PDX CBD pain relief body butter. Just giving you a little plug, Sandra Rose. Okay. All right, go ahead and land your feet when you're ready. Press into your heels, lift your hips, slide the block out from underneath you. And then from here, you can hug your knees into your chest. And here's where you might use the strap. You could use the strap or even tug onto your pant legs or wrap your hands around your knees, whatever feels comfortable for you. Just give yourself a nice big hug, and you might wrap your nose up towards your knees and then exhale to gently release that. We'll go ahead and roll onto our left side and press ourselves up into a seat. And I forgot that we were going to use the tennis ball, but we'll use it later. So let's set it off to the side. Once you come to a seated position, you might find either a pillow or a blanket. So I like to use my folded blanket as a little seat. And then you can have your strap handy. And let's also bring the blocks close by. So from your seat, let's extend the right leg off to the right. And then you can grow your torso long. We'll inhale to reach the arms up and overhead. You can look up. And then on your exhale breath, start to turn to face your right toes. And once more, admire your foot. And on your exhale, you can land your hands anywhere you like. They could be right up close to you. You could bring blocks next to you and have your hands rest on blocks. You can have a flat spine. If it felt too intense on the knee, you could also take a blanket, a second blanket, roll it up, and make a little roll for underneath your knee. And that might feel supportive so that you're not like hyperextending the knee. And then take your time to just lean your torso over your right leg. You might find that with each inhale, you can lengthen through your spine, and each exhale, you might have a few millimeters more space. Remember, it's not how far you go. This pose is infinite. Take a moment to send your breath into any areas of sensation. And feel free, if it would feel good, to round over that leg, bowing your head towards your leg. You could reach for your foot, but it's not important to grab hold of it. It's just there if you want to grab hold, if it's in hand's reach. Remember that we could go on forever, right? We go on forever. So it's not about how it looks, it's about how it feels. Where can we find that sensation? Go ahead and inhale and rise back up. We'll bring the torso back to center. You can inhale, reach your arms up towards the sky. And then on your exhale breath, we'll bring the right hand down to the right leg. And you can land it anywhere you like, maybe on the inseam of the leg. We'll start to allow the arm to press into the leg, and then as you reach, or really not really reach, but as you fold, we're going to find this stretch along the outside edge of the left arm, or sorry, the left side. Left arm, fingertips, side body. Now you could, this is kind of fun, I think, prop your elbow either on your hand or maybe even on a bolster or pillow. You can bring this bolster here. And then allow your head to rest on your fist. And I think that's such a nice sensation of gentle pressure against the temple. You might massage that area by just allowing the fist to rub a little circle on your temple, while also finding that stretch along your side. Take one more nice deep breath like this. And then on your inhale, we'll rise to center, reach your hands up. Exhale, draw your hands to your heart center. And then we'll start to twist to the left. So you can start to just bring your torso to the left. You might bring your right hand either to the inseam of your leg or maybe all the way to the knee or anywhere along the way, just finding a little bit of leverage. You might bring another block behind you or plant your left hand on your blanket, on the block, or on the earth, turning your gaze past your left shoulder. Take a nice deep breath, finding that little bit of twist. And then on your next exhale, allow your head to begin to bow towards your heart. And your chin is going to draw a semicircle above your chest. Take a nice slow turn towards your right toes. So it's like you're twisting your spine to the left and you're turning your gaze to the right. Maybe you find a nice stretch through the side of the neck or wherever you feel that. And then we'll inhale to release, and you can shake it off. Let's extend both legs out, give them a little shake. And then I'm going to try the other side. So I kind of actually really liked that blanket roll underneath my knee. I have tried that before, but so I'm going to bring the blanket roll for underneath my knee, stack my knee on top of that. That's my left knee. And then bring my right foot to the inseam of the left leg. Kind of have to coordinate where the foot is in comparison with that blanket. And then you might bring the blocks to either side. From here, we'll inhale, sweep the arms up and overhead, lift the heart and the gaze. And then as you exhale, turn to the left. Let your left toes give you a little wave. And then on your exhale, you can bring your hands down, plant them anywhere that feels comfortable. It could just be on your thigh and on the ground. Lean your chest forward, lengthen through your spine. You could reach your hands out towards blocks, or maybe reach all the way out to touch your toes. And it might be nice to start as much upright as you need to, and then allow, with your breath, a tiny micro movement. Your spine lengthening, your heart melting towards your knee. And you can go ahead and allow your head to entirely bow if you'd like, rounding your spine if that feels good. Allowing your heart to melt towards your knee. Janu Sirsasana. Take one more nice deep breath here. And then when you're ready, you can press into the supports, lift yourself back up. We'll inhale to rise to center, reaching the arms up overhead. And then on your exhale, you can land your left hand on your left leg. Slide that left arm down the leg as much as you'd like so that your right arm is reaching up and overhead. Now I'm going to use the bolster to make that platform so that I have a place to rest my elbow and then allow my temple to rest on my fist. And I might take that little massage, allowing the fist, the knuckles to draw a little circle against my temple. Or you can just find stillness here. Allow your gaze to lift maybe up towards your fingertips. Take another nice deep breath. Remember, it's not about how it looks, it's about how it feels. These are all options, choices along your journey. You have agency and choice. On your next inhale, we'll lift the gaze back up to center, reach the arms up. Exhale, draw your hands to your heart center. And then I'm going to move this bolster. I realized I need to move the bolster. We're going to go ahead and twist towards that right knee. So you can go ahead and bring the torso any amount over to the right. You might drop your left hand on your left leg or reach all the way over towards your knee. I'm going to bring another block behind me to plant my right hand. And then you can turn your gaze over your right shoulder. Inhale to lengthen the spine. And exhale to twist. Taking some nice deep breaths. Find that stretch along your neck. And then on your next exhale, you can begin to bow your head towards your heart. Allowing your head to hang heavy, finding a gentle stretch for the neck. And then you can allow that your chin reaches your left shoulder. You can lift your gaze past your left shoulder so you're turning your torso to the right and turning your gaze to the left. Any amount. Sending your breath into those areas of sensation. Take one more nice deep breath here, and then we'll go ahead and release that hold of your twist. Go ahead and shake it out. Shake out the shoulders. Release the legs. Give them a little shake. And then we'll move the blanket. That was my second blanket. We're going to come to hands and knees, if that's okay for you. If you want to do your cat-cow seated, if you prefer, you can come either with your legs wide. That could work for cat-cow. We're really just moving the spine, inhaling to bring the spine forward, exhaling to round the belly back. And you could do that either with the wide legs or cross-legged or from a chair would work. And if you prefer hands and knees, we'll come to a tabletop position. So you're welcome to use a blanket under the knees if that will make that a little softer. And if it's hard to be on the wrists, it could be nice to use these blocks for underneath the forearms. And that almost gets you into the same position. On your inhale, you can lower the belly, lift the heart through the biceps, and then exhale, round the spine, draw the belly up towards the spine. Go ahead and find your version of cat and cow, following the pace of your own breath. After a few rounds of breath, it might feel good to find like maybe a big barrel roll with the belly button. Imagining your belly button is tracing the inside of a hula hoop. If you find a place of interest along your journey, you might pause there, sending your breath into that area of sensation. And just noticing, allowing yourself to notice, giving yourself the time, the space to notice. And to keep yourself symmetrical, you can, or to help yourself, I guess, work towards symmetry. We have a bit of symmetry and asymmetry, but you can go ahead and reverse the direction of whatever movement you're making. If it's a circle, go ahead and round in the other direction. Just notice how good it feels to stretch your spine. I mean, good is kind of a judgment, but just notice the sensation. Bask in that with wonder and awe. And then when you're ready, we're going to try either child's pose, or you're welcome to do a downward facing dog. So if you're going to want to do the child's pose, you can bring the big toes to touch, start to walk the knees a little wider than the hips, sink the hips back towards the heels, and you can walk the hands out in front, lowering your forehead down to the mat. If it's too far away, the ground, and it feels uncomfortable, you could either stack the forearms or you could bring a bolster and allow the torso to rest. I like to use this big round bolster and then turn one cheek to rest at a time. So halfway through your child's pose, you could rest one cheek at a time. Another fun option that I haven't shown, I don't think, in this class yet, is a puppy pose. So feel free to try this if you'd like. I'm kind of walking my knees a little bit closer together so that my hips are going to point a bit more up towards the sky. And then I'll walk the hands out like child's pose, but I like to do this quarter dog variation. So you can either allow your whole entire chest and forehead to melt towards the earth here in puppy pose, or what's really fun, I think, is to bring my forearm, my left forearm, I'll do one at a time. I'll bring my left forearm to the earth, right in front of my forehead, and then walk the right hand out in front. Allow your forehead to come to your forearm. And then what's really nice is that forehead area, they call that the ajna center or the third eye. Allow that area of your forehead to gently press against your forearm. And then you might be able to just rock your head a little bit side to side, massaging your forehead and your forearm. Notice if there's any tension living in the forearm. And I bet there is, because I'm thinking computers, texting. So just go ahead and give that forearm a little bit of a tension with the forehead. I don't know about you, I could stay there all day. But since we're so lucky to have two sides, we can go ahead and switch sides. Whenever you feel ready, bring your right forearm down underneath your forehead. Walk your left hand out in front. After class, I would love to check in to find out if anyone has, is it just me? Do you have tension there in your forearm? I'm like, wow. Wow. Okay. I think that's evidence I need a massage. All right, go ahead and take another nice deep breath. If you're trying that version of the puppy pose, you can. Then we'll come up to a tabletop, And you can either stay on your palms, or if you'd like, you can come down to your forearms. And then you can stretch your left leg back, tuck the toe under, press the heel towards the mat. We're finding a bit of stretch for the calf, for the back of the leg. Now, just speaking of tapas, self-discipline, you're welcome to stay here. This is maybe your pose, stretching through the calf. But if you want to turn this into a little bit of balance and strength pose, you can lift the back heel. So now you're floating the back heel. And now I have my, my chair in the way, but you could reach your opposite arm, so that's going to be your right arm, out in front of you. And take a few rounds of breath. We call that bird dog. When you're ready, you can lower your hand and your knee, or your foot, I should say, and your knee. And we'll come back to tabletop, or that's also fine if you're on the forearms too. From here, you can extend the right leg back, getting your calf stretch, breathing down the back of your leg. And as you send your breath, can you imagine gratitude flowing over from the heart all the way down the back of the leg? Gratitude for the leg, the calf, the heel, the foot. And when you're ready, if you want to turn it into that bird dog, you can lift that back foot. And maybe you stay right here. Or if you'd like to just play around, divine play, you could reach the left hand out in front, coming into bird dog. Whenever you're ready, land the hand, land the knee. And then from here, we're going to get ready to come down to our bellies. So I'm going to actually remove the blanket so I don't have it underneath me when I land on my belly. And from here, you can either play around with a forearm plank or come directly down to your belly. I'll walk you through the forearm plank. I think what's nice about it is I feel like it's kind of accessible, and I try to make it as accessible, but it's a good way to practice our tapas, our discipline, our heat. So you might walk your knees back with your forearms on the mat, and you can stay right here, hovering your belly over the earth. You might feel that strength, that tapas, that heat, and as soon as you're ready, you can land your belly. Now we're gonna just play around. Again, play. This idea of divine play that comes from the book. How can we play with building a little bit of strength? So you can stay here in your Sphinx pose, or you can keep your toes tucked under, and then we'll just play around with pouncing Sphinx. So on your next exhale, you can start to lift your belly away from the earth. Allow it to hover, finding a little bit of quiver, a little strength. And then when you're ready, you can inhale, come back down to the ground. Maybe you play around with that one more time. Pouncing Sphinx. Pouncing up into your plank. And then lowering when you're ready. From here, we're going to take a rest in crocodile. So stretch your legs back one at a time. Untuck your toes. Go ahead and stack your palms. And you can lower your forehead down to the back of your hands. Soften all of your effort here. Relaxing, allowing any thoughts that no longer serve you. Imagine them floating into your forehead and finding that portal from your forehead through your hands. Allow them to fade away into the earth. Let them go. On the next inhale breath, you can lift your head, sweep your hands back towards your hips, and then turn your gaze to the left, allowing your right temple to rest. For me to reach my temple to the mat, it helps me to tuck my toes under and glide my body forward. And then your temple can literally kiss down to the mat. Soften your effort here on your exhale. And then on your next inhale breath, we're going to float all of our extremities, floating your head, your chest, your arms, your legs, coming to balance on the belly in locust pose. Keeping a soft gaze, feel yourself floating, flying, maybe just as free as a bird. If you even want to flap your wings, you can inhale, float your arms forward. Exhale, fly your arms back. Using your strength, your heat at your belly, your tapas. When you're ready, bring your hands toward your hips. Turn your gaze over to the right this time. Allow your whole body to soften, bringing your left temple down towards the mat. Soften all of your effort. Feel the ground rise to meet you. And take a moment to truly delight in this time of rest. Realizing that importance to our self-discipline. Rest is just as important sometimes as that effort. We need a balance of the both. A balance of our effort and our ease. When you're ready, you can plant your palms under your shoulders, tuck your toes under, press up through tabletop, and then we'll come to stand. If you'd like to come to downward dog, I'm going to show a version with support, and you can also use the chair for this. So actually, maybe I'll just go ahead and show with the chair. So to use the chair for downward dog, I'm going to slide the chair over, put it on my mat, and then bring my hands to the seat. And then I'll tuck the toes under, stepping my feet one at a time, and then walk my feet back to lengthen through the spine. You can feel that nice stretch through your back body, through your hamstrings, calves. You could even take a while to pedal out your feet, gazing lovingly towards your feet. At a certain point in time, you can walk your feet towards your hands, finding a forward fold. Press into whatever support, your legs, your blocks, your chair. You can inhale to press up with a flat back for a halfway lift. Exhale to gently forward fold. Inhale here for halfway lift. Exhale to forward fold. And one more time. Ardha Uttanasana, that means halfway lift. Exhale, Uttanasana, forward fold. From here, we're going to find a lunge. So inhale to come up halfway. Step your left foot forward and your right foot back. And this is so nice on a chair, so feel free to use a chair or blocks, or you can bring your hands to the earth. And we'll just play around with flossing through the hips. So you're going to allow the hips to come forward and back, finding a little bit of movement, stretching through the foot, maybe the hips. And then when you're ready, you can come to stillness. And we're going to switch sides. So I'm going to walk that foot forward, step it forward, and then go ahead and step the left foot back, right foot forward. Just a little lunge, stretching through the foot, knee, the hips, a little forward and back. And as you move your body, can you marvel at this amazing design we're so lucky to have? Often we don't send enough appreciation for this body. We're so conditioned, right, to send ourselves grief. grief about what we can't and don't have. Maybe it's a practice to change our mind. Go ahead and step that foot forward, and then we're going to come back down to the mat. We didn't do very much standing today, so maybe next week. This is our tapas here. So you can start to walk your feet back, maybe in downward dog. I'm going to use the blocks this time, so I have the blocks underneath my hands. And then when you're ready, you can hover the knees, maybe for a moment. This is all optional. Feeling your tapas, your heat, right there at your core. And then land your knees when you're ready. You can walk your knees forward. I'm going to slide the chair out of the way. And then you can come onto your seat with your feet out in front. We're going to practice playing around with Navasana, boat pose. So you can reach your hands forward, and with your feet flat on the mat, your knees up towards the sky, you can start to lean your torso back. You could even bring your hands back to support you. But see about letting this come from your center, from your third chakra, your solar plexus. That's our core, our will. You might slide one hand forward at a time, maybe even reaching your hands behind your thighs, lifting one shin and then the other shin, or both together. Allow yourself play. And then when you're ready, bring your hands behind your thighs. We'll go ahead and roll onto our backs and find happy baby pose. Bringing the knees apart. You can either leave your hands behind your thighs or walk your hands up your legs. You could even grab hold of your feet. This one is called Ananda Balasana, happy baby. Allow a smile to wash across your face, and you might rock side to side, maybe even allowing the earth to catch you, allowing one knee to drop down, extending the opposite leg long. Picture yourself like this young baby, so carefree, letting go of all your troubles. Just let them go. For the next pose, I'm going to encourage you to find some support. You're welcome to do it without support, but by support, I mean I'm going to be actually moving over to either using a chair, the wall would be great, or a couch. I'm going to actually use the bed here as my support. So we're going to come into figure 4. And the reason why I like this with a prop, I'm going to slide myself over so that I can put my feet on the prop and my knees are about a right angle. Then I'm going to stretch my right leg long, bring the left ankle on top of the right knee, and then bring my foot to the edge of that object. This is called figure 4 pose. You might be able to see why, because kind of forming a figure 4 with the legs. A lot of times without support, people will weave their hands through that right leg and then tug the right leg in. I find that to be really a lot. So I bring a strap sometimes behind the right thigh if you don't have a place to set your right foot. And then you can use the strap to hold on, pull the shape towards you. And maybe you'll feel this through your left hip. What's nice about using a prop, and you can get even closer for a deeper stretch, is it allows you to relax your whole upper body. You can allow your whole upper body to rest on the mat. And this is also similar to a pose called pigeon. But some people don't like the pigeon as well, or it can be challenging pigeon. That's just on it's a totally different separate pose is going to get the similar area. Just allow yourself to soften here, tuning into your breath. If you want to deepen the stretch, you can start to pull or draw the shape closer to the body, maybe getting closer to your object of support. You could also flex the toes a bit towards the knee to activate the legs. And you might notice a deeper stretch. Take one more nice deep breath on this side, and then we'll extend the legs out. Maybe give them a little shake. And then try the other side. Bring the right ankle onto the left thigh. Draw your left leg closer towards you, and now you're in figure 4. Stretching really now through the right hip. Of course, you could use your hands to draw the shape in towards the body. But this is the nice thing about calling in support. So you can really soften and relax, allowing that balance of effort and ease. Stira and Sukha. Go ahead and take one more nice deep breath here. And then for your Shavasana, if you'd like to use the support of the wall or this couch or whatever you might be using for legs up the wall, or you could do a traditional Shavasana laying on the back or come to a seated meditation. So if I'm going to put my legs up the couch, I'm just going to scooch so that my hips are right up against the couch or a wall, and then turn so that my legs are up on that support. And this is a nice gentle inversion once more, just another way to sort of flip our perspective, change our whole situation, turning ourselves upside down and allowing the body to really benefit from that. Seeing how it really changes things for us. So as you come into your final resting pose, I'll bring a quote for you to just allow you to ponder if you would like, or just allow it to kind of rain down. So this is going to be another quote from the yamas and the niyamas on tapas. I'm going to get all set up for that while you rest. So find whatever restful position. Feel free to use any supports. Sometimes if you're cold, you want to get a little warmer. Or if you want to use support underneath the knees. Somewhere we forget we had to learn how to walk. We forget how many times we fell. We forget that things take practice. The question for us, what are we practicing for? To become something in the future takes effort in the now. In yoga, having a daily disciplined practice is referred to as sadhana. It is the discipline of putting ourselves in places where the old debris that has collected in us can be removed. We engage in this process when we pay attention to the amount and kind of food we put in our body. When we move and exercise our body through walks, yoga, and other activities. When we expand our mental ability or study scriptures with like-minded people. As Patabi Joyce reminds us, practice and all is coming. Saint Francis of Assisi, in his well-known prayer, speaks eloquently to the possibilities of transformation for each human being. Lord, make me an instrument of thy peace. Where there is hatred, let me sow love. Where there is injury, pardon. Where there is doubt, faith. Where there is despair, hope. Where there is darkness, light. Where there is sadness, joy. Allow yourself to come back in to your heart center. And remember that the discipline of tapas will mold us into someone of great depth and profoundness if we let it. Can we stand the heat of being dismantled and changed forever by the fire? Can we prepare ourselves daily through our practice, our staying power, and our choices? Can we stay in the burning with integrity? And can we hold on for the blessing? Take some time of quiet to allow anything to just absorb. The beautiful thing about doing a Zoom home practice is you can stay in your restful position for as long as you'd like. Maybe just notice, what is your personal battery at? You give yourself, without shame or guilt, that time to rest, knowing that it's just as important as all of the things that you do to contribute to the whole of humanity. If you're ready to reawaken the body, you can come back to a seat at your own time, in your own way. Bring your hands to meet at your heart center. The light in me bows to the light in each and every one of you. Thank you so much for allowing me to guide you through your practice. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti, which means peace, peace, peace. Thank you so much for joining me, and let me know if you have thoughts or questions about class. Oops.